I haven't been more excited for a opening game than I have been this year. It's just, they put a lot of effort and a lot of money into the team this year, and I think it's our turn to step up and show that we're a playoff team.
And here at Comcast Sportsnet, I think it's safe to say that we all share in the excitement of the Caps captain, as we, after all, are the home for the NHL on Comcast Sportsnet and the Washington Capitals. Our roundtable has obviously grown by one, and I think I could say safely it's grown for the better. Lisa Hillary joins us, and you had a chance to catch up with Glen Hanlon recently. What'd you learn?
I did. Very, very, very interesting man, fellas. Away from the ice, Glen Hanlon is a man of very few words. Entering his 4th season as head coach for the Washington Capitals, Hanlon invites very few into his inner circle. But if you want to talk hockey, he'll go all day. 14 NHL seasons as a goaltender with Vancouver, St. Louis, the Rangers, and Detroit. So intense was Hanlon between the pipes that coaches would use a timeout just to calm him down if he had allowed a goal. At 23 years of age, he was quickly making a name for himself, and not only for his display of emotion, but rather his ability. In fact, Don Cherry once referred to Hanlon as the best goalie in the National Hockey League.
What I was as a player, I sort of got to a point what I thought made me successful. For whatever reason why I did that, I don't know why. Hindsight, I wish I could have been more involved and been more of come to the rink at 6 o'clock, turn the switch on, enjoy it, and enjoy the rest of my life. But it wasn't working out that way, so that's how we did it. His move to the bench came when a former coach gave him an opportunity. Pat Quinn gave me a chance to stay involved in hockey in Vancouver when I retired my very first year, and right at the top of the organization as far as being involved with really good people as a goalie coach. But he also encouraged me to get involved with the assistants and help out with practices, and he thought I might want to branch out and be a coach into the mainstream of coaching. And from the very first day, I realized that I enjoyed coaching more than I did playing, and I'm one of the few ex-players that enjoys what they're doing now more than they did playing.
Coach Hanlon doesn't take compliments well, shifting the focus back to his team, one he feels is ready for the postseason. Ted Leonsis came out and said the rebuilding is over. Is that perhaps a bold statement?
I don't know if it's bold or not. I think it's just part of the plan. I mean, George and Ted and Dick Patrick have put a plan together on how to go about doing this, and they had said they went through the first stages of it, and now we're moving into the next stage of what we want to do. So I think that you get the direction from on top. I think that we all are extremely excited about this, and I think that expectations are running high, and they should be running high because we've added some players, but the key for those is because our younger players are getting better.
Are you good enough to win the Stanley Cup?
I think you have to give that question the utmost respect and understand that the teams that do win the Cup have paid a huge price to pay, and until our group here of 23 prove to me that they're willing to do it nightly, I'm not ready to go out on the limb and say that.
And as I mentioned, this is Coach's 4th season as the Caps head man. We touched on it in the piece on the teams that he played for over the years, but it was Vancouver who drafted him back in 1977. 2 years later, he allowed the Great One's first NHL goal. Hanlon also has World Championship coaching experience, coaching Belarus in 2005 and in 2006. A very guarded man, guys. Very, very guarded. Lets very few, as I mentioned, into his inner circle. But I think, you've got to respect that. And I know the players respect that. I'm interested to get your take, Locker, on is he a player's coach? Ole, Chris Clark both say he is.
Well, Lisa, I agree with that. I think he's a player's coach because in his tenure here in Washington, every team that he's coached here has played hard. And my first sign for that is that they like the coach. They like what he's saying to him. He's very in tune with his team. He's organized. He's a little tough, but he's loving. And I think that makes fair. Tough and fair is a good way to say it.
Okay, so back to when you were playing. Does he remind you of any particular coach here in Washington with the way he handled you?
I didn't like any coaches. I'm just kidding. He reminds me a lot of Brian Murray, who was in Ottawa last season. I think Brian Murray was that type of player's coach. You wanted to play hard for the guy. He was in tune with what you were thinking. He was in tune with what you were doing on and off the ice. He was a friend, but also a mentor and a coach, which makes you play harder.
And I think, too, he's not far removed from the game, as Chris Clark said to me, so that helps. There's no question.
you just get a feel-good vibration from the dressing room, whether or not the team is 20 games under 500, and I just can't wait someday to see them be 20 games over 500, and you sure hope that Glen Hanlon is stirring the drink at that time. He deserves it for what he's put
Sure he
through.
does. Sure
he definitely does deserve it. The Washington Capitals on Comcast Sportsnet, we have all of the games covered, many of them in high definition. 74 Caps games beginning with the season opener on October 5. We'll be in Atlanta to battle the Southeast Division Thrashers, then the home opener on the 6th with the Carolina Hurricanes. All right, it's time to make another line change, but when we return, the Caps elder statesman in goal will speak on Cap Speak. And you're watching Comcast Sportsnet.